In Berlin in the mid-1930s, life seemed almost normal. The blast and chaos of war seems very distant. And yet the signs of what is to come are there to see. The Nazi regime controls the levers of power and silences any opposition. In the German capital, this man has built a successful career. His name is Felix Kersten. He's 40 years old, a therapeutic masseur from Finland. He has studied Tibetan medicine under a lama. His healing skills mean he's in demand to treat the rich and fashionable of Europe.
My father started as a student with Dr. Koh. This was in 1922. And then my father stayed with him 3 years. After 3 years, Dr. Koh informed my father suddenly one day that now he has to return to Tibet and he will leave the practice in the hands of my father. He became rather popular and famous. He was a popular doctor. The King of Romania asked for his help, and most of the German aristocrat families, he was treated them, and one led to the other, and the recommendations were very good. His success was very good. He was actually helping people which couldn't get help before. So of course it was very dramatic for such persons. So they talked freely about it, how happy they were.
As his star rises, he marries a German woman from a well-to-do family. Felix Kersten treats kings, queens, and German industrialists. By 1935, the respite he gives them and the fees he commands are enough to buy him an estate near Berlin, Harzwald. It's a happy time of domestic bliss, a young growing family, and rich harvests. It's also the period in which the Nazis are taking over every aspect of power in Germany. Kersten has sworn never to have anything to do with politics. But from 1933, the Nazis have been promoting their idea of a new man with their carefully orchestrated propaganda, a master race led by one leader, the Führer. In this crazy adventure, Adolf Hitler is closely supported by Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS. Himmler does not negotiate his authority, he embodies it, and he is obeyed. You shouldn't imagine him as a weak little man sitting behind a desk obeying Hitler's orders. He has his own ambitions. He's the great planner, and he really does have exceptional skills of organization. He invented Nazi propaganda. From 1927 onwards, he was responsible for party propaganda. But after that, of course, there was the SS.
C'est une qualité à la fois de projet,
c'est-à-dire qu'il pense l'idée d'un ordre dans l'État, d'un ordre qui permet de structurer toutes les activités. Le Parteistaat, ce sera la SS-Staat. Le parti d'État, ce sera Germany would in effect become the SS state.
C'est ça, la
That was the
nouvelle
reality of his
Donc
thinking.
il a cette pensée administrative très
He had a very
précise
precise
qu'il va mettre
administrative
au
way of thinking,
service
which he put to the service of the war
de la guerre
and
et
to
de
the extermination
l'extermination
of the
des Juifs.
Jews. At first, the repression is directed at political opponents of the regime who've stayed in Germany. But then it's aimed more and more openly at another internal enemy, the Jews. They become the scapegoats, responsible for all the ills of society. Many of Kersten's friends urge him to contact Himmler, who is said to be in constant pain.
They had heard and they knew that Himmler had problems. Doctors couldn't help him. He didn't know what to do. So they thought that maybe my father could do something. So they asked him one day. And this was in 1939, before the war. And my father said, no, I don't dare to go there. I mean, this is trouble. Going to Mr. Himmler is trouble. So no, I don't want to. But then they convinced him. They said, you should go because you must help us. We ask you now, please go and see him.